You know, it's just the hell with that thing. I don't even know if my music's working anymore. Supposed to be. Oh. There it is. How about that smooth transition? How about it? In 2 months, I'm going to transplant this Lenovo Legion gaming PC into a better case. Nice. Kind of nervous, but I think you got it. Yeah, I think you got it, man. I think you've been watching enough of this. Hey, what's up? Good evening, Dad Bods and Drop Shots. How are the drop shots lately? And how is the Dad Bod? Some giant idiot, welcome to the Build Show. Tuna, thank you for joining us. You guys like my chin beard that I got going here? I let it go. It's been getting bad. I don't even have time to shave anymore. There you have it. What build are we doing tonight? Well, this one is for a local customer who brought me a power supply and a graphics card and said, build me the rest. Mr. Evan, this one is for you. We're going to try to do 2 builds tonight. I know I'm not starting as early as I wanted to, but the pregnant Mrs. Empower, asked me to go to the store for her because she's feeling pretty exhausted by growing a human. Apparently it's exhausting to grow humans. Debugging my PC currently. Uh-oh. Debugging. Why is your debugging? Dadbot is reducing drop shots. Have been okay. Nice. Drop shots have been okay. Okay, Dadbot is reducing. Good. Good. Let me dissect that statement. Dadbot is reducing, so that's a positive. And drop shots have been okay. That sounds mediocre. Like, you know. So you gotta work on those drop shots. You gotta pump those numbers up. Hey, what's up? Good evening. Or good morning from Greece. It's evening over here. See, the sun's coming up over there in Greece, and the sun is finally just disappeared over here in the United States. Dude, I pushed a 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday 13th tattoo flash sale, freaking still recovering. I don't think it's ever a good idea to get a tattoo on Friday the 13th, FYI. 3 a.m. there, holy smokes. Yeah, the sun is probably coming up in a little bit for you. Yeah, I may put in a request for a service if I can't figure it out. Dude, I got you. Just shoot me a message if you need some help. So, what build are we doing? Well, if anybody's very familiar at all, thank you, Kyle, for that like over there on the book face, the Facebook. If anybody's familiar with Micro Center, you would have known right away once I pulled this bundle out. It's a CPU motherboard bundle from Micro Center. So thank you, Micro Center, for all that you do, especially providing us great deals with these bundles. It helps us help our customers get a better deal. So, with that being said, we are going to be building with a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, 32 gigs of DDR4 6000 CL32, which is the new kit. So they went from a CL36 to a CL32 in their kit. And then we're going to be putting that on a B650E Wi-Fi. But that's not it. That's not it. Wow, high-end CPU and motherboard? You know, this is probably the best gaming CPU out there to market right now. And that is your Ryzen, I don't know if you can see that or not. The light's kind of reflecting. But it's the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. It's one of the best CPUs. This board is a good board. It's not a bad board. But there are definitely better boards out there. But it's not a bad board. It's a great board to start out with. It'll run literally any AMD CPU out there. 7000 series and 9000 series and 8000 series. Not that I would ever ask anybody to run an 8000 series CPU. But the RAM's pretty good RAM. This is very stable AMD Expo certified RAM. This is G.Skill Flare X5, 6000 megahertz, CL32, 32 gigs total. All right, what else? What else are we putting in this? I've got some power supply cables here because the customer is providing the power supply and providing the graphics card. And I'm sourcing the rest of the parts and doing the build. So he started out by getting the graphics card and the power supply. Is the RTX 3060 and the Corsair RM750E ATX 3.0 ready power supply. So that's cool. But RTX 3060, which is 12 gigs, so that's good. And we've got a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe, which is the Team Group MP44. It's a great SSD. So that's a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe in there. And then we've got some cable extensions to add some flavor to the build. And we also have a Thermalright AM5 contact frame for the CPU. So we'll be putting that on the CPU in the socket. Last but not least, you're wondering, everybody, I know everybody here is wondering, what are we using to liquidate, or what are we using to cool the CPU? Well, it's the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 addressable RGB 360 millimeter. So it's got 3 120 millimeter fans. It's got a VRM fan on it, and you could be like Tony Stark and remove the fan from the block if you want, which is really cool. But it's in white. I don't think I've ever built with a white version of this cooler yet, But this is a great cooler. It's got offset mounting for AMD AM5, which I really like. So it offsets on AMD and centers up on the hotspot. Hey, what's up, Army Vet? Welcome back to the Build Show. Gold cable extensions, Tattoo Tuna. I'm sorry, but these are not gold. I actually wonder what color. I think they're white. I'm pretty sure they're white. Yeah, these are just white. We've had a lot of cool colors come in, though, guys. So if you stay tuned for the next couple of builds, the next one does not have one, but the next one will have a couple of really cool colors. So I'm kind of excited for those. And the case. What case are we putting all this in? Well, you know me. I'm a Montech guy, so we're going with the Montech King 95 Pro. That's right. Mr. Tat, you get to see another King 95 Pro build. This one's kind of for you. Ooh, a white ALF 360. Yes. Liquid Freezer 3. Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. 360 ARGB. I think I've only ever built with the black one, which is... Well, don't say that too loudly. But I've only built with the black version of this cooler. And I don't know why, because I've done so many white builds. Hey, what's up? Hello from here again. Welcome to the Build Show again over on the Twitch side of things. Oh, hell yeah. But no gold cable extensions, Tat. I'm sorry. You're on Facebook and here. Nice. Well, that's awesome. You said something over here on Facebook as well. Tell me Ryzen 7 7800X3D, Ryzen 9 7900, or Ryzen 9 7900X. Is it good CPU for new PC build? Either one of those CPUs is good. If you're just gaming, the Ryzen 7 7800X3D is going to be the best CPU you could possibly run. If you are gaming and streaming, then you're going to probably want a few more cores, which is the Ryzen 9 7900X3D is what I would get if you're gaming and streaming. But if you're just gaming, that's all you're doing. You don't need the 7900X3D. You can run the 7800X3D just fine. And you can run pretty much any card with that. How are they on AM5? Is there any offset options on the cold plate? So there's the offsetting is on the brackets themselves. Yes, it offsets on AMD only. It does not offset on the Intel platform or the Intel LGA 1700 socket. It only offsets on the AMD socket, AM5 slash AM4. So that is, it forces you to offset, so you don't have an option to not offset, you have to offset. So the only option is to put the brackets in, and then you have the offset. That's it. Hey, what's up, Blind Tech? I'm doing good, how about yourself? Jamal, sorry, I missed your chat there. Are you using an RTX? Yes, this is going to be an RTX 3060 in this PC. Your processor has a Ryzen 9 5900X, but why that Ryzen 7 better than my Ryzen 9? Well, this one's better because, well, it's got the X3D cache. The 3D V cache. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry guys, I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. But this has the 3D V cache on it. And it also has a higher boost clock, bigger cache, and it's a different Zen architecture. So it's a bigger CPU. So yes, this will beat your Ryzen 9 5900X. I have more subscribers than you do? Cool. Well, I probably built more PCs than you. I'm sorry. No, it's just, I don't know. I'm not really here for the subscribers, dude. I do this because people like watching their PCs built on stream. I do want to grow the channel a little bit more, though, so that we could do a little bit more for the community itself. Like, more PC giveaways, stuff like that. That's what I'd like to get to do. But the channel has to produce some money. Fair, right? The blind tech subs aren't cool as you. Yeah, some giant idiot. He's like one of the coolest subs. I built like 22 PCs in my life. Nice. Last year I built 733. This year we're only at 152. It's been a very slow year compared to last year. Sold them all except my recent PC flip. Nice. Congrats, man. So I'm very good at building PCs. I'm not very good at managing YouTube channels. I suck at it. I'll be the first one to tell you that. If I'm going to grow this channel, I probably have to hire somebody to do it. Or somebody to help me. Excessive, I know. But that's what I do. Not realistic for 700. Oh, it was very realistic. Very realistic. Go look at my December, the month of December last year for me. You'll see that I was streaming at least like 5 PC builds a night. It was absolutely insane the month of December. Hey man, what's the difference of Mobo HBZ besides display and PCI slot? I don't think I fully understand that question. Be honest, LOL. No, not really. Well, what are you talking about? Blind tech, I don't understand. Are you saying I didn't build 700 PCs? Because I did. 733 to be exact. And I have invoices, shipping addresses, customers that I've built for, all 700 of them last year. So if you want to see my QuickBooks, you can. But I don't need to prove anything to you, dude. I don't really care. You don't believe me, you don't believe me. Don't care. Back to Jamal. RTX, our best cards, previous GPU is 6700 XT. A lot of bugs, drivers, that's why I switched to NVIDIA is the best. I kind of disagree with that. So AMD drivers haven't been as buggy as people have been saying since maybe like the RX 400 series, like the 480. They're not as bad as they used to be. My friend from Tampa built 983 PCs in a year. Yeah, and he probably didn't have a social life, and neither did I. So there's no life other than just building PCs and being completely exhausted. And that's kind of where I'm at already with only 152. But I do more than build PCs. I also do repairs and upgrades and open loops and all sorts of stuff. So haters going to hate, just ban them. Don't worry about it, RBVet over on Twitch. I'm not that kind of guy. What's up, Steve? Welcome back to the Build Show. Thanks, mod. Intel boards allow more power management like overclocking, undervolting, tighter RAM timings. Technically, yes, they do. So there you have. I have noticed anyway, at least just when you're trying to use XMP or Expo profiles, Intel is a lot easier. AMD is a little bit more difficult. There was somebody that had a question about something up above that I missed. I know I missed it. It was from Damn. Nah, I believe you, man. Why do you need to judge someone's build count? I don't know. Somebody just feels like he's not going to believe that I built 733 PCs last year. I don't care. He doesn't have to believe me. When am I starting the build? I'm starting the build as soon as you guys are ready. I can start it right now if you'd like. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started since we already went through the parts list, the loadout, the build. And Evan, I'm sorry. Let the suspense build a little bit. Yeah. Where's the flavor around here? Everybody's just rush, rush, rush. Fresh computer parts, yes. Other than the 2 parts that were included by the customer locally over here. He provided the power supply and the graphics card. So I don't know where they came from, and hopefully they work fully. Puts down fully polished hammer. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where those parts, you know, the history of those parts. For all I know, they don't work, which is going to be quite interesting during the stream, right? So here we are. We have our Tough Gaming B650. We're going to go ahead and start by dropping the CPU into the socket, and then we'll remove the stock brackets here and add the Thermalright contact frame. Yes, the new PC parts always smell good, except kind of like that nicotine. When you get used to it, you don't smell it as much, or you don't feel it as much. So I don't really notice the new PC parts smell as much as I used to. It's kind of sad. Because as I was younger, I used to be, you know, one of my most favorite things was opening a fresh box and smelling it. That time when Valve had to tell gamers to stop smelling their Steam Deck after... Yeah, that was not cool. Very funny to read that. They actually had to make that. And then also there was another one where I think somebody was eating thermal paste or tasting it. That was another strange one. You don't remember that one? I think it was on a Gamers Nexus episode at some point. Or was it... Paul's Hardware. I see many of motherboards, and when I read the specs, I see PCI Express 5.0. It's so just straightforward. Don't even invest in PCIe 5.0 yet. It's not worth it yet. Wait for the prices to come down. If you want to invest in a motherboard that has it, surely, definitely do so, especially if you're on an AMD platform, because it'll probably be a thing later down the road. But right now, it is, in my opinion, not worth it. All right, so the contact bracket, or the original stock bracket, and this wrench will be included with the parts that come with the PC, so if he ever has to remove this CPU, he will be able to do so. Number one, he has a tool. Number two, he has a stock bracket if he ever needs it. And also, so if we ever have to return it for some reason, which we shouldn't. You never know. But always hold on to both of those if you do this process, or if you add this bracket. Always hold on to those. Why? Who doesn't taste the thermal paste? Yeah, I know. I always taste my thermal paste. It's actually one of my secrets as to why my PCs run so cool is because I usually lick the thermal paste first. I'm very much so joking, just so everybody's clear. I do not want to be blamed for one of you guys licking your thermal paste. My dad tints more than 1,000 windows a year. Nice. Runs his window tint company here in Florida. Nice. You can put a PCIe 4.0 SSD in 5.0 slots. Yes, some giant idiot is correct. You could definitely, it's backwards compatible, so you can put a 4.0 or even a 3.0 card in a 5.0 slot and it will work. So that is not a problem going backwards. The backwards compatibility usually always works in almost every case, except for CPUs and RAM. That's really the truth, isn't it? All right, here's our 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. I don't know why it's not going to focus on it, but that is it. Looks like maybe we need to adjust the lighting after the stream, because it's not right. I always said I was going to get some diffusers for the stream here, the setup, and I never did. And I still mean to do that. We'll have some better lighting. All right, there we go. We get our 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD installed by Team Group, the MP44, and then we also have our Ryzen 7 7800X3D and our 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 MHz CL32 by G.Skill, which is, oh wait, we have to, sorry guys, we have to zoom back in. We have to do the bracket here. You're brand new. Wait. Oh, or, hear me out, skip the stress and heartbeat when things go wrong by visiting. Oh, thanks, some giant idiot. Hasty paste goes so hard on Lunchables. Definitely do not do that. I eat thermal paste per day, 4 thermal paste. Now, is it, you know, when you say 4 thermal paste, is it 4 ounces of thermal paste? 4 gallons? Damn. How do you market your service? Is it by yourself? Yes. It is just me, dude. R6 top bronze. That's my boy's build. Nice! This is your boy's build right here that we're working on? Evan? Mr. Evan Love? By the way, I love his name. The build that we love. By the way, we're going to get to use this if you weren't here yesterday. LTT store screwdriver, which I'm trying. I'm not fully invested in it yet. Yes, sir. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and get the brackets out for the AIO, and we're going to get the brackets on here. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Build Show. I love that, man. You know what makes thermal paste so much better? Looking at gold extension cables while doing it. You know, we could do that. We could look at gold extension cables while we're licking thermal paste. Sure. Are you licking gold thermal paste, pink thermal paste, silver thermal paste? What color is the thermal paste that you're licking while you're staring at gold cables? Just curious. Dang it. And there you see it right there, if you're paying attention, some giant idiot. The offset bracket here. You can tell that this mounting hole here on the bracket, the center of the bracket, once I move my hands here, you'll be able to see it a little better. But you'll see that it's not centered up. It's kind of focused towards the bottom of the CPU here. You're probably like, if you would move your hand out of the way, I could see it. But right here, you can see that the offset here, that's going to be the center of the actual block that goes on the CPU, the cold plate. So there's going to be a little portion of the top of the CPU that's going to be exposed, but that's because our hotspot on the CPU is down here at the bottom. So it centers the block up right there on the CPU, which is exactly what we want for this particular CPU. Okay. So now that that's done, can you see the CPU after mounting pump? Yes. You'll see the top of the CPU a little bit. Slightly. Once we get that installed, I can see if I could get you an angle on it, but it will be while it's in the case. I could try to take a picture and send it to the Discord. To the Discord! Time to get this case out. This is the Montech 95 King 95 Pro. And I know Tat over there is probably just drooling right now. Hey Michael, thank you for the like over there on Facebook. Brandon and David and Kyle, all of you over there on Facebook, thank you. But I know Tat to Tuna is probably drooling over this because he's planning to do a build in this exact case. Maybe a different color though, right? I've got a couple of new colors, Tat. Did you see that? Montech has some new colors on this case. but it is toolless entry on all of the panels. There's a couple of thumb screws for the side panels at the top of the panel. And then the top panel just lifts right off. It just has the push clips on it. And then we've also got a front glass panel that just pops out as well. Once you remove that top panel, you can very easily remove this front panel, which is interchangeable out to a mesh front panel. You could very easily add some additional airflow to what's already here. But this has got to be one of my favorite cases by Montech. Probably their more expensive option, and I think they even have a newer version of this coming out soon. Brownie pudding thermal paste. I don't think I've ever used that, nor would I ever want to taste it. Thank you, my friend May, asking you about SSD NVMe, the NVMEs, which NVMe is VFM without technical problems. I'm asking you because I buy a solid state drive 2.5 out of 10 months ago and Black Friday. I have many problems with it and only 98% health now. I have blue screens and reboot problems. What was the brand? I guess I would need to know the exact SSD to kind of tell you if it was good or bad, if you know the brand and the model. But for the most part, for SSD storage, I really don't mess around. There's only like 3 or 4 different brands that I use on a regular basis, and that's going to be Team Group, Samsung, Silicon Power, and Crucial. Those are like my 4 main brands I'll use. And I don't use Crucial as much anymore because I am considered a business, because I have a business account, and anytime I have RMA problems, they make me take very strange, weird avenues to get my returns in to them. So for a business purpose only, if I was a consumer, it would be quite simple, which I am not a consumer now. I'm more of a business because I go through so many parts. But because of that, I don't use as much Crucial anymore. But I do love them. I just don't like how they have their return RMA services for a business. Tattoo Tuna, what size motherboard are you running on the Legion ATX or eATX? And I believe it was just a smaller board, right? Micro ATX are the tiny ones. Gotta love Samsung. So yeah, Samsung's some of the best. And Team Group, honestly, has been absolutely fantastic. And I don't care what anybody says about them. They've been great. So I 100% trust Team Group and their SSDs. They're probably just as good, in most cases for gaming purposes, just as good as any Samsung SSD out there. And I'm talking apples to apples comparison, so their flagship versus Samsung's flagship models, not picking an MP33 and matching it to a Samsung 990 Pro. Two very different SSDs. Well, 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 would you look at that? Now we gotta get our hardware. And just a reminder, Tat, when you go to do your AIO, make sure you use the AIO screws that come with the case. Don't use the AI screws that come with the cooler, because they are too tall. The heads are too tall, and the top of the case won't close. Just a friendly reminder. That's a good idea. Reformat the drive, reinstall the OS plus the drivers. Yeah, I think that's the best thing you could do to try to resolve that, just to make sure it's not the SSD. And of course, always make sure you're backing up your data before you format it. If there's anything sensitive that you want to keep, make sure you back it up. And then I usually tell people that are doing this maybe for the first time, always also make sure you unplug your backup drive so you don't accidentally format that. Not talking from experience. That was experience from a long time ago, though. Very easy to mix up the drives when you're in that list. Especially if you have all the same size drives. You're like, yeah, I think it's that one. Oops. Is this Montec case a mid-size? Yes, this is considered a ATX mid-tower. So technically it only supports an ATX board. It does not support the extended eATX. But it also supports ITX and micro ATX motherboards as well. If you wanted to put a smaller board in here, you could. But I'd recommend just sticking with the ATX board. If you're spending the extra money on this size of a case, you may as well make sure you have an ATX motherboard as well. I have the documents on that SSD. May I try to save all these documents or not? Yes, try to save the documents. Do not format it until you back up those documents. There are ways to back up those documents, especially like Mini XP or Hirons, or Linux. You could boot off of a USB drive and get in there and recover those drives, or you could try to plug the drive into another computer, but there might be some security features that will keep you from, you know, depending on if it's encrypted with BitLocker, etc. It might keep you from doing that. But yes, definitely try to save as much files as you can off the drive itself. OneDrive, USB drives, external hard drive, anything you got. You can even use another internal drive if you have that available. 733 builds. You probably do have a social life. Don't have. No, I do not have a social life. Other than randomly randomly being able to play maybe some rounds of PUBG with some friends or beyond all reason. But other than that, I don't drink. I smoke a lot of vape. I don't go out, and when I do, it's rare. Yeah, it's just really busy here. Chill out. Yeah, no. I see you selling very good PC builds in your website, Empower. Thank you. Yes, I try to avoid. So yesterday, if you caught the early side of the stream, we started out with an iBuyPower machine, which I was just calling a piece of crap the whole time. Sorry if the owner saw that, but I mean, it is what it is. The iBuyPower just buys crap power supplies and puts them in their builds, buys crap coolers, puts them in their builds, and then buys cheap fans and throws them in builds, and then they repurpose their old chassis and just give them a new facelift while still not listening to everybody's advice, which is get rid of the stupid solid panel on the front and make it a mesh panel for airflow, and that would solve half their problems. Literally solving half their problems would be getting rid of that solid panel on the front of their cases on all of their builds, and then they would have less support calls. But that PC was in here because of a power supply issue, and then also the RAM they put on this AMD system, guys, was a Neofroza, which isn't a bad brand. It's still a decent brand. It's not terrible. It's the speed that they selected, which was just trash. It was like 5200 megahertz, which isn't the end of the world, but it's on an AM5 platform, and it was 5200 megahertz at CL40, which is just trash RAM. It's just basically bottom of the barrel. You were better off running stock speeds. I don't know. It's just, and the RAM just, you could feel it. You could feel the sluggish experience with the RAM while you were doing stuff on the PC. So I've got new RAM coming for it because they want the snappy experience, and just because I said something about the RAM, they just want to get rid of it. So that's what we're gonna do. And also we put a new power supply in there yesterday, and we got it up and running, and I've had it on the bench for the last 48 hours now, and it's been running perfect. So no issues whatsoever. Whereas before it was just randomly shutting off, and it was because of that cheap power supply. Anyway, side quest over. Moving on. That's why I don't put cheap components in builds, because if I'm going to do a build, I'm going to do it right. Okay. And if I'm going to do it right, I'm going to have less people calling me saying, hey, Ben, my computer doesn't turn on. And I don't want that. I don't want my customer to have that experience. I don't want to have that experience. nobody wants to waste any time, so I'm not here to waste time. I'm here to give you a solid quality build that should, keyword, should work as long as you need it to. Giant idiot. I'm gonna share my motherboard on the Discord. Maybe you can figure it out if it's extended ATX or not. Yeah, definitely go ahead and drop it in there. I'll take a look at it too as well, Tat. Anyway, getting back to the build here. That is the whys behind it all. We got it mounted. Let's go ahead and get our front panels connected, and then we'll drop our EPS cables in, put our cooler in, put our graphics card in, put our power supply in. Then we'll power this bad boy up and call it a day, right? Make sure there's no peels on here. Aha, I missed one. I always miss this peel. It just looks like it's supposed to be part of it. Okay. Front panel connections. We've got USB-C and 3 there. We've got chassis fan 1 there, and our addressable RGB also down there. Okay, I know where everything is. Let's go ahead and open up this side panel. Tell my friends, because I understand you have experience for PC building, which motherboard is a VFM to Guy Gigabyte. What? VRM maybe to Guy Git or MSI socket Z790. I'm not sure I understand the question there. Are you sticking more and more to AMD builds, dude? Michael, the amount of AMD builds I have done over the last month compared to Intel, I think is a ratio of 50 or 40 to 1 right now. All AMD, pretty much everything. I just did an Intel build last night, but it was an Intel 12700K build. Yeah, that's what I thought it was when we first looked it up, Tat. But it's just been a while since I've looked it up, because I think you asked this question before and we looked it up, and I'm pretty sure it was a ATX board. Well, yeah, 12 makes sense. The 13th, 14th gen news is not good. Yeah, it was not. It's not been good, dude. I've also had to deal with a lot of people having issues with the 13900K and 14900K. I've had to personally deal with that. I've had to move a couple of customers to AMD, helping them out by doing all the service for free, and then helping them by sending their CPU back for them to Intel, and then selling the parts for them. Even though I hate doing that, but it's like, I don't know what else to do. It's a very shitty situation for me to be in. And people are looking at me and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's Intel's fault. It just makes it shitty. So, for that, thank you, Intel, for making a shitty situation. When I build PCs, I do the motherboard, CPU, RAM, SSD, cooler, then put motherboard case screw, and then do front panel cords, then power supply installation, cable management, and the GPU, then plug the power cord in and boot it up. So, yeah, I normally would do that, but I'm on a stream. I'm streaming, talking as I'm building. Most of the time, the builds, you know, everything's fine. It's very rare for us to run into a problem with one of these parts. Do I test the builds? Oh, yeah, 100%. I test the crap out of all of the builds. So, if there's going to be a problem, it's going to be discovered. And it will be resolved. But for the purpose of the stream itself, as a full video, I'm just pushing through it, so I'm not going to do any, like, side quest testing or anything like that. That's all going to be done when we hit the power button. So we'll see if it works or not. But that's the excitement, right? And that's also the confidence I have in my build and part selection. I'm not worried at all about it not working. You know, watch. This one doesn't post. Just because I said that. Karma's a bitch. Alright, so we've got our USB-C plugged in, USB 3.0, our front panel power connection, reset, although I don't know if this board actually has that, our chassis fan for the hub, that's on the back, and our addressable RGB for the hub, that's also on the back, on that hub, our HD audio. And now let's get those EPS cables out. I kind of want to put those EPS cables in before we do the cooler. So this guy and this guy. We've got some sleeved extensions that we're going to be using for this, and I do have some cable combs I'm going to add. You've used MSI for motherboards the last 3 gens. You love MSI. You know, I'm a pretty big MSI fan as well. I'm obviously always trying to give people the best possible quality when I'm building, so I don't always use. You know, I primarily will use ASUS. That's probably my primary brand, even though they've had a bunch of issues this year. And I've experienced personally some of those issues, and it's been kind of a pain in the ass, but they've never given me a problem when it came to like RMAs or returns or anything like that. So I'm going to continue to support them just because of that and their service behind it. I know some people have personally had some bad experiences with ASUS, but me personally, I have not experienced that yet. So but yes, my choice is probably MSI first. My personal choice. I am going to do a build on my website that's called Ben's Choice. And specifically, it's going to be a build that has all the parts that I would put in my personal build, and basically it's going to be my build when I rebuild my PC here. Then if you want Ben's build, you'll have my build. Well, this kind of sucks. You were happy with the 12900K? Didn't have those issues? Yeah, I know that 12th gen escaped all of those problems, which, you know, is one positive thing, I guess. They had something right, but then they screwed it all up when they introduced all this extra power. Get a little power hungry. Next thing you know, nothing's working. Okay, we got those EPS cables in the corner where I need them. They're probably going to be like looking a little bit like that or something like that. Let's go ahead and drop our AIO in, our radiator. Right? New BIOS limit most CPUs to a max of 1.5 volt. Yes. Yep, and there's also an AMD CPU or AMD BIOS out for ASUS that's giving us problems right now, and that's on the AMD side. I think it was the 2308 or something like that. It was causing some problems. I gotta dig more into it, but Chamber Tech was telling me about it, and I gotta look into it. But good thing you told me, because I'll probably be doing that BIOS update on this computer. So I'll be keeping an eye on that when I go to do the BIOS update here. Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 in white. Yes. It is beautiful. Yes, I'm being lazy and not taking the cooler out. Oh boy. A little squishy to get it in here, but it'll fit. Some would say it's a little oversized. You love their rads. Yeah, dude, these radiators are just... Arctic's probably my top brand. I know you guys see me use Thermalright a lot, but that's because of the cost and how good they are. It's hard to beat Thermalright's cost. I remember when it used to take me like 5 minutes to do these screws. This screwdriver does shave a lot of time off that process. Not gonna lie. Whoop. Good Thermalright, 95% of the performance, Leaders at 50% of the cost. I know. It's hard to beat it. Like, I love Arctic, and I love its performance. Arctic is basically my first choice when it comes to AMD, especially if I have the budget for it. If I have the budget with the customer to get to this cooler, even though it is already a very, very cost-effective cooler at its price, you know, being at $109 or something like that, you know, Thermalright's still cheaper. Thermalright still beats it. So it's like, AIO companies are all of a sudden having these great coolers that are just having this battle for the cheapest one at this point, price-wise. What's been wrong with Asus? Well, Asus had some issues with AMD boards for a little while when they first came out, and that was a long time ago. They corrected it with a lot of BIOS updates, and it's been less of a problem. And then Asus all of a sudden had weird issues with Intel. It was directly related to Intel, but then later it kind of came out that it wasn't really just an Asus problem. It was, but it isn't. Like, they have some special overclocking on some of their boards that people will enable. So some of it's kind of the user, and some of it's Asus pushing too much power to the CPU, and then some of it's just an Intel problem straight up. So it's a mix, is kind of what it is now at this point. It's a mix of multiple things that are causing the issues. When I put this build out, it's going to be running in perfectly good order, so you won't have to worry about any of that. I'll make sure it has the gooder BIOS out there, so that, you know, you don't run into any problems on it, or that Evan doesn't have any problems on it. Okay. Thermal paste. We're going to be using the MX6 by Arctic, which is included with the cooler. So, putting that on here, and then we're going to block this. It's another reason why I like to use that thermal Thermalright contact frame, because if this paste gets pushed off the side, which I know probably an excessive amount, but there will be full coverage, and if it goes off to the side, it's not going to seep down the side of the CPU. It's going to just go on the plate, which is very easy to wipe off. But I like that very much so about this cooler, or this contact frame. It's another reason to use it, basically. Please do not peel off. Well, I'm going to. Later. Yes, I've already peeled the peel on the bottom, so it's there. This is the tricky part, getting this cooler installed. Dang it. It is such a tight fit here. I know you're just basically looking at my arm, but there's 2 screws here that I have to screw in and meet at that bracket, and there's so much pressure trying to make them meet the bracket there. It's tight. It's a tight fit. So there we have it, though. Got it on there. Okay, the next thing we want to do is make sure we plug in our VRM fan. I should have actually plugged this in before I put it in there. So now you're going to look at the side of my face as I try to figure this out. That AIO that came with my Legion is chunky and heavy as crap. I hope it fits in there. Yeah, no, this thing is one of the thicker AIOs out in the market. So if this one fits, yours should fit, as long as it's not a 280 millimeter. If it's 280 millimeter, you might have to fit it on the side of the 2 side fans here, where those are. So if it's 280, you might have to put it on the side. If it's 360 or 240, you could definitely put it at the top. And only if it was neon blue, like the tube. Oh, the paste? Yeah. Then people might mistake it for toothpaste or something. sad. Is there a face with that AIO pump? Yes. Actually, I just had to finish up dealing with those cables there before I could put it on there. But usually I put this one on last. Nasty Yoda! Welcome to the build show, sir. If I missed you earlier, I apologize. Deep Cool being gone from the US market is a huge, especially for system integrators like you. Yeah, no, it sucked. Because I loved Deep Cool. I was using them for a lot of builds. And suddenly they weren't available for us anymore. But there you go. There it is. There it is! Hey. But it's like Tony Stark, because this thing glows when you plug it in. So I always feel like Tony Stark if I'm undoing this or putting this on while it's on. Like, boo! Glows. Hey, thanks for the sub over there, Flake. Appreciate you, sir. Goes to the $1 build giveaway, by the way. All of our subs on Twitch. And eventually when we monetize YouTube. Okay, Tat, so if it's a 360 millimeter LC cooler, that should be fine. So it'll fit right there at the top, just like this one. Good. All right. So next, go ahead and do our 24 pin. We have a white 24, whoa, let me just throw it in here. White 24 pin extension cable, which we'll throw in here. Just like I did, just probably a little bit better. I'll do it with more style. More finesse. Just so you guys can watch what I have to do. Get these cable combs on here. You guys find me a good softish cable extension kit with pre-installed cable combs. I will 100% switch over to them, and it has to be reasonably priced. Can't be like over $30 for the kit. Hey, thanks for the follow over there, Yapster. Appreciate you. Japster has joined us over there on the Twitch channel. How's your day going, Dapster? LOL, like you just said. I have those exact cables. Wish they came pre- Yes, yes, yes. I have cable comb calluses, my friend. And there's not very many people out there that can say that. Nor many people would be proud of that. Not at all saying that I am proud of it. I'm just saying I speak the truth. I have calluses on my fingers from doing cable combs. Welcome! Was watching on YouTube and then I heard you mention Twitch. And the audio is much better here. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know why. Is YouTube audio that bad, guys? I'm also kind of like far away from the microphone. That might be part of the problem. Also earlier I'd realized that I had bumped my gain on my microphone, so it was way up there. That also might have been the problem. I turned it down a while ago. Doot, doot, doot. Almost there. Holy smokes. try to like flex the cable to get it into its natural position before I put it in here. That way we could clean it up before it's in. There we go. There's your fancy white cables. Look at that. I think it was just YouTube. It sounded fine. I just had to crank it up a little. Yeah. I've had to do that a few times on YouTube as well. Going good, working on electrician school. And seeing what is the latest in the PC building, since it's been a while since I built up mine. Oh, well, I think right now the key is to go AMD. Intel's has problems with some of their bigger CPUs, but also AMD, AM5, gives you a little bit more upgradability on the AM5 platform versus Intel. If you invest in it right now, at least, you'll be investing in a dead-end platform, meaning the 14th gen is the end of the line for the Z790 or the Z690. There is no new CPU coming out for that socket. It is done. So the new socket is going to be a new motherboard and a new CPU. So AMD is the better investment right now because you can upgrade. Also, with AM5 being supported longer, the 7800X3D, if all you're doing is gaming, the 7800X3D is one of the best gaming CPUs out there that you can get. Again, that's the Ryzen 7 7800X3D by AMD on the AM5 platform. Is still Intel having problems with their CPUs? Yes, that's not going to go away. That is 100% a design/manufacturing flaw. And the only thing they can do is tell the BIOS to send less electricity to the CPU to keep it from degrading as fast as it has been. That is the only thing they've done, is kind of like a duct tape fix. Almost there, Star Wars reference? William? Yes, 100% it was a Star Wars reference. Red 5! No, I'm just... Almost there! While attacking the Death Star in A New Hope. The inflection took me there. Yes, yeah, it took me there too when I said it. It just comes up from childhood. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. When I was young, that was when I watched A New Hope. That was the first Star Wars movie I ever watched. And I fell in love with Star Wars. Not so much after Disney took over. I'm kind of like, meh. But all the true George Lucas films I've loved so far, and a lot of the books. My build, AMD Ryzen 9 5950X, sorry, 3080 Ti, 32 gigs, 3600 RAM. I'm assuming that's probably CL18 or CL16 on the RAM. For your timing, 6TB hard drive with 1TB SSD, Asus Dark Hero motherboard. That's a solid build. I mean, honestly, if you're looking for a little bit more performance, a couple of things you could do is switch over to an X3D CPU if you don't need the cores, and sell your 5950X and switch over to a 3DX, a 3D V-Cache CPU. You get a little bit more performance out of that if you don't need the cores. If you need the cores, then obviously you might want to consider looking at moving to the AM5 platform. But the 3080 Ti is still a strong card today. But if you're trying to like achieve more frames in 4K, then you're going to probably want to look at a 4000 series or the 5000 series that's coming out soon. You would know about the CL stuff. Well, the CL stuff, the most common for 3600 was CL18. So that was probably the most common RAM out there. So it's probably 18. Streaming gaming PC, then yeah, you probably want the cores. So I'd say you don't necessarily need to upgrade right now. The build is fine. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more performance, or if you're noticing some performance issues on some during some of your tasks, then I'd narrow it down to find out what it is that you need. Do you need more CPU, or do you need more RAM, or do you need more storage or faster storage? Narrow it down, because it's a solid rig. But if you straight up just want to upgrade, then yeah, definitely go AMD. Can't go wrong. You love it? Awesome. Okay, back to the build, guys. Next up, what do we have to do? What's left? Oh yeah. Hold on one second, guys. Ah! This is a customer-provided graphics card. All I said was that the card was trying to install itself. So let's get it installed properly. And then I was talking about how this is a customer-provided graphics card. So I'm not going to destroy the box. I'm going to preserve it because I assume he wants the box. Because he provided the card and the power supply for the build. And he said, here's my budget, build the rest of the system. I was like, I could do that. I can definitely do that. There she is. RTX 3060 by Gigabyte. I believe it's the WindForce, right? No, it's the Gaming OC. Mike's muted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not muted anymore, am I? What happens when you walk away and you mute your mic real quick? Oh, come on. I'm just trying to peel a peel here. That's all I need to do. That little guy just needs to be peeled off, because if you don't peel him off, they'll get sucked up into the fat and get stuck in one of your bins. And then it'll sound like the bicycle with the dirt bike cardboard. Bicycle with the cardboard that sounds like a dirt bike. That's actually what I was trying to say. It won't sound like that. It'll actually sound more like a ticking sound. Okay. I love the magnet on this thing. That is a thumb screw that I'm picking up with the magnet of the screwdriver. That I can get used to. I have that card, but the 7900 XT family. Gigabyte's been really good. I've only had a couple other cards fail. And most of them were RX 6600s in very poor airflow environments or situations. Alright, and you guessed it. They've got another white cable for the graphics card. So we need a cable comb, too. I'm gonna do like 3 or 4 on this one. Let's get these cable comb calluses working. Do. Never heard this song before. Is that Linus's screwdriver? Yes. It is a LTTT store.com screwdriver. Yes. So, I was going to do a review of the Gamers Nexus hardware kit. I have here. So, Gamers Nexus. This is their hardware. I'm going to review this one. Then, I'm going to review LTT's screwdriver also. We're going to put this bad boy to the test and see how many builds it survives for. Right now, it's on build number 2. So we could write an official review of how many builds this lasts for, or expected to last for, before it starts having problems. And then I also have the iFixit, and that would be from not Paul's Hardware, but gosh, Jay's 2 cents. He recommends the iFixit, but I mean, he has a whatchamacallit with them. So I've got the whole iFixit package, and this is more ideal for smaller electronics, to be honest with you. I don't like this for PC building at all. Linus, Jay, and Steve. I know we're putting all their tools to test. Everybody says, you know, I should be using the LTT store screwdriver, so I got it. My fear is that it's not going to last the life of my 1 year with PC building. I don't think it's going to last a year. So we'll see. We started just 2 builds ago at build number 150 or 151. This is 153 that we're building right now. So, that being said, we definitely will be putting it to its test. We're going to find out what the LTT screwdriver's limit is sometime here. And then we'll see how Linus deals with it. So it's kind of like our own journalism experiment. Is Linus's media store as good as they say it is? Is the screwdriver worth the money that he says it's worth? We're gonna find out. Love it, man. We need a celebration when we get to 1,000 builds. Yes, this year we're not going to, but I've definitely surpassed 1,000 builds. Lifetime, I've definitely surpassed 1,000 builds. GPU teardowns? Yeah, definitely. So I actually like Gamer's Nexus kit for the GPU teardowns. He has every tool you'll need for a GPU teardown. I like the iFixit more for laptop repairs or while I'm working on Macs. That's where the iFixit really comes into play. Or if I'm working on a controller or something smaller, you know, that's what the iFixit is really good for. The LTT store screwdriver is a very multi-usable screwdriver. You could use it for pretty much anything. Not just PC building, you know. And same thing with the Gamer's Nexus tools. You could use it for anything, as long as it fits the job. But the LTT store screwdriver does have a lot of different bit options that you could buy separately. But I just bought the package as it was from each of them, and I'm just seeing what works and what doesn't. Hey, what's up, Flux? How's it going? Welcome back to the Build Show. Tat. Will GPU have bottlenecking? I'm sorry, I missed your question over there on YouTube. Will the GPU be bottlenecking the CPU with that setup? With this setup? No, definitely not. I mean, what's happening here is you want the GPU to be slower than your CPU in this situation, or in any situation. You want your CPU to be faster than your GPU in most cases, because you don't want your GPU waiting on frames because of your CPU. So if your GPU is waiting for frames from your CPU, that means you have a CPU bottleneck, and that's the worst way to have a bottleneck. The bottleneck the opposite direction, yes, there's going to be a bottleneck where this CPU is definitely more powerful than this graphics card when it comes to frame time. And there will be a bottleneck, and it will be the GPU. But that is a good bottleneck to have. That means this GPU can run at its fullest without waiting on the CPU. So he could put this GPU to its max. And then he could also upgrade later when he's ready. Did you ever make a video on my PC? I did not make a video on your PC yet. I still want to, though. I have so many videos that I have to make that I haven't made yet. We'll eventually get there. But right now I'm behind on builds again. I caught up on builds right when I was finishing yours. I did the mega build stream and I was caught up and I was going into the schedule nice and smooth. And then we had, then I got sick, so it slowed me down a little bit. I was feeling like crap, so I apologize, guys. Last week was just a crapshoot. So, and then we had plans over the weekend on top of that, so to go help a buddy over in Muskegon on the other side of the state. So on the weekend, I kind of lost some time there too. You have the iFixit, but mine's the poor man's version from Amazon. It's not a poor man's version. iFixit is iFixit. I just got the full kit because I wanted the full experience. That's the one that Jay recommended, I think. I hope I bought the right one. I don't know, I got it from Micro Center. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I got to get good pics and such to post it. I was hoping you got some, but you didn't. No, I didn't give me. I was so swamped when it was in here. I was just trying to get it back to you as timely fashion as I could, and I didn't want it to take too much more time with the system since it was here for so long. And I know you were waiting for it or looking forward to getting it back, but yeah, that one just stumps me at this point. Mine's called Let's Fix It. Got it. Okay, now I understand what you mean by that. Okay. Well, let's stop chatting and get this build done so we can move on to build number 2 that we have to do tonight. Flip this thing over and the power supply in here, shall we? Is that case fan controller or one of the one you added? So this is included with the case. Not, it's very, very important. So there's 2 versions of the case right now. You have the King 95 Pro with the hub that includes the fans and also includes the hub. Then you have the King 95, not Pro. Does not include the fans, does not include the hub. So if you need the hub, I definitely recommend getting the King 95 Pro. Saves you a ton of time on the build. But this is the King 95 Pro. And the power supply we're using is the Corsair CM, or the RM 750E. Again, this was a customer-provided power supply. I don't know the history of it. I'm going to assume it is brand new. I think it was when he said it was, when we were talking about it. I always question situations when power supplies have been opened previously. The cables have also been opened because it's very important to make sure that we have the right cables for the right power supply. I believe these are all correct because they look all the same at least. And they look like Corsair. EPS cable. Now I'm just going to plug all the cables in. I notice on this Legion case it has a thermal sensor taped inside the case. That's probably going back to the BIOS. Have I seen this before? Yes. On like Dell's, HPs, and things, they have those types of sensors that report back to usually the software that will be used for troubleshooting. They could check the ambient temperature of a specific area of the case or the piece. And all the fans are pre-wired to the hub. Saves times. Yes, saves a lot of time being pre-wired. Not as fancy, cheap, or not as fancy as your Lian Li fans or your Corsair fans, but fans still look pretty dope, and they're pretty quality. I believe they're rifled bearing fans. I'm just going to add the rest of these to the PSU. Even though it is modular, we don't necessarily need them in here. I'm just going to add them so they don't get lost. Montech just makes great stuff for the money. Oh yeah. It's very impressive that they make the quality that they make at the price they make it for. Kind of opens your eyes on the market. Makes you question the market a little bit. Almost there. And that, boys and girls, is a tidy clean. Tidy and clean, yes. We want it tidy and clean. That is what we do here. Although one thing I forgot to look for was the power cord. There you go. Now that's clean. Yep. There you go. That's a clean build. We could probably do something else. Honestly, not too worried about that. Alright, who's ready to see what this thing looks like for the very first time? I'll stick to my day job. Well, that's interesting. Does that look clean enough for us? Pretty dope looking. Let's fire this thing up. Hey Gaza Gamer, what's up? What CPU is he using? This is a Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Clean enough to eat off of. I'd say so. Yeah. I'll find them for you. Although I don't think I'll be able to find... Oh, that boy, that'll be a tough one. We might have to customize that. But we can do it. Just buy some white ones and spray paint them. Yep. All right, who's ready to see this thing run for the very, very, very first time? Hey, Minnow, what's up? Looks dope. Excited to see it. Excited to see yours get built. What's your first name, Minnow? I could tell you where we're at, Minnow, on the build order. You guys ready to see this thing? Evan, are you in here? Are you gonna tell me to push this power button or what? Ariel, I believe. 1, 2. I believe we're building yours tomorrow night, Ariel. Ariel. Let's do this! Alright, some giant idiot. We're gonna fire it up. Cat Tuna over at YouTube tells me to do it. Some giant idiot says let's do it. Let's just do it. We got some RGB problems going on these two fans here. Maybe I unplugged them. The two side fans are supposed to be addressable RGB as well. But it's very possible that I unplugged them. Block with a C. Push that button. We did. Just gotta figure out why these fans are true. Definitely a hub issue. Un momento. Very strange. That's something. Hold up. Box of fame. That's where we belong right now. Power Gaming accepts PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, debit, and... Thanks. Some giant idiot. Yeah, go ahead and drop a contact there, and we can chat more about a PC build if you'd like. I may have to just buy those black plastic ones and spray paint them. You could do that. Not posted either. It's hard. We're still not posted. Thing stuck on RAM. And of course, my kit, my test kit, I sent home with a customer, and I don't have another test kit here. Although I might have some more DDR5 here. Yeah, I do. I do have another DDR5 kit here. Although I just posted after I pushed on the RAM. So, weird. Maybe it wasn't seated all the way up. Now it's a post. You jinxed yourself from earlier, I know. Well, it's posted. Now, that wasn't a big deal. I just got to figure out this RGB thing. Which, I already know what the problem is. I just need the right solution. I was actually less worried about the post. Ow. Less worried about the post. Ow. Ow. There we go, we got that back on. Now we just got to get these other two on. thinking this thing has. No problem. We learned two very special things today. Don't always trust you. That we already knew about. Okay. Now we're posted and we have all our lights. Some idea, huh? What do I do? Why the link? Let there be light. Yes. I think the link was because you had mentioned that, I think he just tagged the wrong person, but I think he meant it was supposed to be at Mr. What's his name above you that you were replying to. But yeah, you just go to the custom build form there on the website. That's the best way to do it. Bad ports on the hub? No. No. I just forgot to plug in the second SATA power cable that comes with the hub. So just so you're aware, Tat, there's two power cables on this hub that need to be plugged into the SATA power. My cable management was just so good, I buried it and couldn't find it. Missed it. There we go. Now we're back to where we should have been 10 minutes ago. I need to write this stuff down. You could just pull up the video and watch it. The day Ben screwed up the King 95 Pro. September 18th, 2024. The third age. No, I'm just kidding. But there you have it, guys. We have a King 95 Pro built. It's powered up. It's posted. We just got to do some Windows installs, and we have to do some driver installs, do a BIOS update, make sure we navigate around the troublesome BIOS that we were talking about earlier, and do some testing, and then it should be ready for pickup. So Evan, probably going to be ready for pickup tomorrow, just so you're aware. But we have it built, so that's step one. Step two, finishing it. He's beautiful. I'm glad you like it. I hope you like my choice of parts to assemble it. I know we wanted white, but I think it looks pretty good with the, even with the black motherboard in there, and the kind of multicolored, kind of like a gray hint on the graphics card itself. A little RGB on there. We'll have to talk about managing that RGB on the graphics card right there, because you'll have to use a separate tool other than ASUS to manage that. All right, guys. You guys ready for build number 2? How about we take a 5-minute break? I gotta take a pee. I gotta hit the bathroom really quick and get another drink. And then we'll start build number 2. Sound good, guys? Hey, you right back. Best viewers. Go away, stupid bot. Yeah, you tell that bot. Welcome back. You guys ready to do build number 2? All right, let's change the name. Shall we? This is going to be build number 154. And this build is going to be for an Antonio. Antonio. I think that's how you spell it. Antone EO. Oh. Also, this is build number 2 of 2 for the evening. All right, here we go. Antonio's build. You can already see where we're going with this, right? What PC case is that? Are you talking about the previous one? The one that we just had over here built, or the new one that we're going to be building in? Or the previous case was the Montech King 95 Pro. That was the case, the white case that we just had here in front of us just a few minutes ago. The Montech King 95 Pro. All right, guys, Antonio's build. Let's go ahead and run through it. Now, keep in mind, yeah, that white one was the Montech King 95 Pro. I can drop that in the chat for you if you'd like. There you go. And that was in white. They do come in several colors, including blue, red, black, white, and then they have a couple of new colors as well. Yeah, what's up, Ant-Man? How's it going? All right, Antonio. Let me make sure first that he's aware we're doing his build. So let me send that out, and we'll get started. Okay. Also had to wrangle a child and put them in bed. We're back! Want to whack that bot with your sword? Right. My apologies. I tagged the wrong person earlier. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the bad over there, some giant idiot. We're back again. What's up? So let's go through the build for Mr. Antonio. We did message him. We let him know we're building it live right now. So here we go. Sorry about the long delay. Try to get back into the swing of the build. Ryzen 5 5600. It's got the 6 cores. It's got the 12 threads. And it's got 4.4 gigahertz max boost. Same 4. We're going to be slapping a Peerless Assassin on top of that. So we've got plenty of cooling headroom there for a future CPU if he ever wants to upgrade. We're also going to be putting that into an ASRock B550 Phantom Gaming for AC. So AC means it has Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth on it. We have 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, which is a Gen 4 MP44L by Team Group. And then we have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 CL16, which has got 2 8-gig sticks. And this is the Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z. We've also got an AMD Radeon RX 6600, which is an 8GB GDDR6 graphics card, and a Segitech GN 650W 80 Plus Gold. We're going to be building this into a Montech Air 903 Max. So excellent airflow overall for the build. Lots of good airflow here. And this build, keep in mind, was $735.85 total. So it was a decent build for the price. We're trying to set them up for future upgrades as well, as best as we can with the budget that we had, while trying to maintain a enjoyable experience when you start out, right? So this is a excellent option if you are coming in under the $800 budget, so to speak, and you want something that is enjoyable and something that is going to give you a good upgrade path. This would be ideal. Maybe change out the motherboard a little bit, but I wanted an ATX motherboard for his build. So you could do a little bit, maybe a little bit different here. Like we probably could have gone with a micro ATX motherboard and then maybe squeezed in 32 gigs of RAM, or maybe got to a 750 watt power supply instead. Is the Assassin King good enough for the Ryzen 7800 3D? I would recommend the Peerless Assassin for the 7800X 3D. That CPU does run a little bit warm, and I would recommend the 6 heat pipes with the dual tower with the 2 fans. That will significantly help over the King. It'll outperform it. But you could use the Assassin King, but it's going to run a little hotter on the Assassin King, which I think, if I remember correctly, is either 4 or 5 heat pipes. This one, the Peerless Assassin, has 6 heat pipes, and it's a dual tower with 2 120mm PWM fans on there. So it is going to dissipate that heat a lot faster than the Assassin King from Thermalright. All right, guys, let's get started on the build, shall we? This one should go pretty quick. I'd say less than an hour on this build, or should be. It's not a very complicated build. It's actually a very easy to do build. Very easy build when it comes to looking at it that way, I guess. I think the most complicated thing in here is going to be the cooler and, you know, just making sure you have all your connections on the motherboard correctly for the front panel. That's it. The rest of it's pretty straightforward for this build. Let's go ahead and get a zoom in on this board, and we'll get our CPU and our RAM and our SSD installed. That's a good view right there, right? Yeah. So here's our Ryzen 5 5600 that was going into the socket. Open that bad boy up and get it plugged in. What case? This is going to be the Montech Air 903 Max in black. I had to double check. But the next two builds are going to be super interesting color mixes, guys. I'm excited for the next two builds. 3 builds, actually. The next 3 are going to be super cool. Meaning, different. Different in a sense. There we go. Our Ryzen 5600. Go ahead and drop our RAM into the slot next. That is our Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z DDR4 CL16 3200 megahertz, 16 gigabytes, 8 gigs each, 16 gigs total. We're going to be dropping that into slots A2 and B2. Not going to make it so that the RAM isn't pushed in all the way. Oh. Do not remember the last time I did that. Been a while since that's happened. Next up is our 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe Team Group MP44L. Which we're going to put in the M.2 slot right here at the very top. And then we have a little M.2 screw. The only downside of this board is I wish it had another M.2 slot on it, which it does not. And it always tricks me. Like, I think it is. Like, you feel like it should. And it technically does, because it has an M.2 Wi-Fi slot here. And that's what the Wi-Fi card runs off of. Okay. So next, let's get the cooler mounted, installed. Awesome, Ben. I love it, and I love my new PC you built. It's the best. I almost read beast, because we already knew it was a beast. Did you get that new modem in yet, Aaron? Hey, this is Antonio. I'm in a Zoom meeting right now, but you're watching. Dude, that's dedicated. We're building your PC right now. Whoever's on the other end of that Zoom call, just tell them, you know, you got important stuff going on. I'm just kidding. Do what you got to do. I'm sure we could keep you talking longer than an hour. Probably could. Rose gold. Yes, Tat, that's right. That's what color it was. I knew it was like that. I thought they released another one too, like a maybe that is the pink one, the rose gold one. How about them Lions? I know. The fact that they lost last week kind of sucked. I don't know. Don't get me started on the Lions. That call that screwed us on that field goal going into the second quarter, ending the second quarter, sucked. Because that right there would have won us the game. because we could have went for a field goal in the situation at the end of the game, and then we would have had I think 2 points on them, so it would have forced them to a field goal to win it. But yeah, man, getting your kicking special team on the field at the same time your defense is trying to just spike the ball was not a good move. Not a good move. Did I say defense? I meant offense. Aiden has more sacks than the most of the other NFL teams combined. I know. It's crazy. I think it's like 11 or something like that. Or what number is he at now? How many sacks? He's one of those players that has a story that you just love. Aiden Hutchinson. He has that story that you love. Here we go. And most teams have 4 with all their players. Nice. Pretty sure I shut teams down, but apparently I didn't. He has 5.5. I thought he had something like 11. Maybe I was thinking of a different number. I was wondering what GPU to buy with a 7800X 3D, and then found the 4080 around 900. The 4080 would be a good option, but you could go all the way up to a 4090 with that CPU. It is a beast of a CPU. Awesome, Ben. I love it. Love my new PC. Thank you. I already read that, but I just love reading that. Yeah, Aiden is a beast. Sure. All right, so next up is adding the fans to the cooler. Now that we have the tower air cooler installed, and we have the CPU installed, we have the RAM installed, the SSD. Gonna put the fans on here, and we drop this beast right into the case. And I'm gonna set the front fan first. I don't know why I put it on there. I should have put it on the front first. But no big deal. There we go. We got both the fans clipped to the cooler. Now we're just going to rotate this and try to cable manage this a little bit before we get it into the case, so it's a little easier. I can zoom out a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Right? And there we have it. Now we're ready for our motherboard after we snip these. Ready for our case. Put our motherboard. That's actually what I meant to say. But you know me long enough, you know what I mean. Zappy poo. We need one stud for this board because this board has a second one in the center. Might help to install the backplate the right direction. There we go. We got our motherboard installed. Next step, plug the front panel in. Front panel connections is all of this here at the top that needs to communicate with the motherboard itself. So we just got to get each one of these plugged into the motherboard. And also our hub. And I forgot, this board does not have USB. That top USB-C port is not going to work, because there's just no connection for it there. In that case, we would have been better off with the MSI B550. Same price point, which does have USB-C. But it's a micro ATX motherboard in an ATX case. Or would be. All right, so our USB 3, gonna run back up this way. Pop out there. Our PWM fan is going to right in mid area here, as well as our addressable RGB connection. Probably right there. USB-C is not going anywhere. Front panel power. And our reset switch. There, and then our HD audio here. Okay. There we have it. All of our front panel connections are done. Yeah, I know. It's got to be a nice case because, you know, even you bought it. It is a nice case. I do like this one. One of the most practical cases you can buy from Montech. And it has some pretty good aesthetics as well. Next up, we're just going to jump right into getting our graphics card installed. And then we'll do our power supply. Then had to buy a better motherboard just to get the USB-C on the top connection. I know. I always forget this board doesn't have USB-C. It looks like it should, but it tricks you and it doesn't. The only other option I could have done in the same price point would have been the MSI B550 Pro VDH, but it's a micro ATX motherboard. It's a B550M. So unfortunately, it would have been a micro ATX motherboard in an ATX case, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that. Does have? It does. Thing does have appeal. Wrench. Course. I just noticed there's peels on the fans too. I didn't think this model had them. Kind of felt it. Didn't feel like it. But it lied to me. But we got it. There we go. There we go. Look at that. A beefy RX 6600 in there. Asus dual cooler. The beefy version. Now let's get the power supply in there. We get this thing fired up. A little bit of cable management. We're hunting in right at that 1 hour mark. freaking fruit fly. Okay, the NyQuil is kicking in. Have a good night. Finish the build. Thank you, sir. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did. Appreciate you. I'm just slowing down myself. Getting tired. Not as talkative as I normally am. My NyQuil is starting to kick in too. You have yourself a good night, sir. Thanks for staying up with us. One away from the 10 streak again. Nice. Really digging it. We're almost there, guys. Almost ready to power this sucker on. What do you guys think of that cable management? Is that good or what? It's like a clean haircut, you know? Nice and clean. As symmetrical as we can really get it. Super easy to manage and maintain if you need it. Mostly the case helps with that. All right, Antonio, you better be ready to tell me to turn this thing on, because we're going to get this thing plugged in, and then I'm going to need you to tell me to fire this thing up. Looks good. Clean up some of this hardware, get this beast fired up. All right, Antonio, I hope you're ready. You're ready? I was going to side view here. Let me know when you're ready, hit that power button. You tell me to push this power button and I'll push it. Waiting on you, Antonio. Push it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's alive. And I didn't have the RGB issues I had on the last one. That means I improved over the evening. Post. We posted. Post is a good thing. Post is power on self-test. That's the first thing a PC has to do when it first turns on to verify its hardware is functional and plugged in properly. And then it goes off and says, hey, Windows, are you there? Right now, Windows is not there. But in this situation, we haven't installed Windows yet. So we have to still install Windows, install drivers, do the BIOS update, and do some performance adjustments, and then test. So I should have this ready for pickup towards the end of the day tomorrow. Awesome. Reboot and select proper boot device. What? Because there's no Windows. I'm just reading off the screen here. Looks good, man. Get a side view of it here. Right there. A nice side profile view. I have the glass off right now because the camera doesn't like the glass. Too much light reflection. But it will have the glass on it. But anyway, I've got to do the Windows install and all that stuff, and should have it ready for pickup tomorrow. So I'll be in touch when it is ready to go. We are doing... When it's not being shipped, it is being local pickup. Good. So I'll be in touch when it's ready to go. And here, build number 154 for you, Antonio. All right, guys, I am going to be done for the night. We started a little bit earlier today. Got 2 builds done today. Cool. We're going to be doing 2 more builds tomorrow around the same time. We'll start. So somewhere in between that desirable 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock time frame. I know it's really rough because sometimes people come in and drop off their PCs, and you know I can't be like, well, I was gonna start a stream. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem, man. I hope you enjoy the build, and I look forward to meeting you when you come pick it up. But thank you, everybody else. Thank you, Steve, for hanging out. Army vet who already went to bed because the NyQuil kicked in. Thank you, Some Giant Idiot, for hanging out and banning the bots from our chat. And also answering quite a few questions today. We had quite a few people on. So it was really cool to see. And Tat, you made it to a stream. Alright, guys. You guys have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow around the same time. And we'll have 2 more builds to do with some interesting color schemes coming. Interesting color schemes. Have a good night, guys.